no bottoms. So I'll just kind of put my finger in the side here, just make sure I know like this is going to be the end of the pot, so I don't go any further down. And I'm still estimating about 1/4 of an inch at the bottom of the pot. There's really no way for me to check, so I'm just gonna guess. Also, some experience doing this kind of plays into it as well. So the more you practice, as I said before, the better you're gonna get. And the more comfortable you'll be working with the clay and seeing how it moves. Especially since all clay is different. So once you find louder, you're like being so loud. So the type of clay that you choose is really important as an artist. If you're trying to get a certain look, I mentioned multiple times, I really love the terracotta color, like the nice chocolate brown color of the clay. But there are just so many different types of clay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So the bucket of water, and you are using it a lot. What happens if the clay gets too dry while it's on the wheel?
Yeah, so this is another personal preference. I really like my clay to be wet so that my fingers slide right over it. But if you don't have enough water on your hands or on the clay will get a little sticky and your hands will stick, and then the clay can get knocked off center where it starts to wobble a little. Some artists like to just use the slop, which is like this, just sludgy watered down clay to throw instead of water out of a bucket like this. I also have gotten into the habit of using a sponge on the outside when throwing. So I'm just doing a pull here. So I'm going to start to thin out the walls. So I'm going to make a pull, and then I'm going to recompress the lip. Okay, so I'm going to do it again, add a little bit of water and start at the bottom. Once again, I have my arms tucked into my body. I'm really trying to make sure that I'm breathing. That's really important. Make sure you're breathing as you are, you're pulling up. You don't want to hold your breath. And also make sure you are making a nice, consistent pull. So that just means that I'm applying pressure evenly and I'm pulling at a speed that is thinning out the walls evenly. Once again, this does come, bit of practice to get used to doing this. Just getting some water out of the center. I'm gonna make another pull here. Can I give you a little better?
I think so. And I'm zoomed in really close, just so you know, on the pot.
Oh. All right, so another pull. So what I'm going for, so depending on what you're making, you can make your pot a different thickness or whatever thickness that you want. So some people like a little bit heavier of a pot, and that's fine. Heavier pots are more durable. They retain more heat, like say you're baking in something, because it's stoneware. You can bake right in ceramic pieces. These pieces are heated up to ultimately usually about 2,200 degrees or close to it. So anyway, back to the thickness. You can have a pot that's a little bit thicker, but you want it to be evenly thick. So I wouldn't want to have a pot that's bottom heavy, or maybe the middle is heavy and everywhere else is light. You want it to be a nice, even weight to it, even if it is a little bit thicker. Okay, so people working with porcelain, a lot of times, one of the benefits of working with porcelain is that you can get a really nice thin wall, and it can be translucent, so you can see through it, which is really neat. And it's also very, although you can break porcelain easily, I mean, it's a really hard material and really dense. Okay, I really just love the look of throwing off the hump. I just think it's fun to have where it almost looks like a rock on the bottom, and then you have like this bowl coming out of it. So that's one of the reasons I like to throw off the hump. All right, so I'm just gonna get rid of some of these throwing rings.
Can you do that on the inside of the bowl or the pot too?
Yes. So you can use a rib on the inside of your pot. I've seen people actually use ribs on both sides and make a pull. I don't usually do that because every time I usually do it just on the outside or just on the inside. And it's only because I've tried to do it where I'm holding them both. And a lot of times I end up gouging into the clay or something weird happens. And you also want to have the right size rib. So like this is pretty large, but there are some smaller ribs that you can find, and it'll fit right inside the pot, or it'll have the curve that's exactly what you want it to be. Okay, so I've got the outside, you know, I like that there's a little bit of throwing rings. You can see them right here. I personally like when things look like they're not just, you know, poured into a mold, or like everyone can get them, and like I can see the maker's mark. So, which would be their fingers in this case, right? And each piece is a little bit different. All right, so I'm gonna just get the rim or the lip of the pot nice and rounded. It's a really subtle change, but I just think it's really important to make sure there's no sharp edges. I'm gonna make sure the inside is how I want it to be. So I like to do like, it's not like a perfect little swirl in the center, but I just kind of put my finger over it in the bottom. And then I just want to make sure I distinguish where the bottom of this pot is, since I am throwing up. Okay, so I just kind of made a little mark here. Okay, and then I'll cut it off. So this is actually on the larger side for throwing off the hump. A lot of times people will do a much smaller bowl. I just think it looks really cool. And that's what it's all about. Having fun with it. All right, so I'm gonna take my wire cutter. This takes some practice. I've cut through many pieces this way. And then you're just gonna lift your piece off here. And you know, you probably want to make sure you have a spot on your board to put it, which I didn't. And then the neat thing is, so say I have to make 30 of those. Okay, so I've got that one done, and I'm just gonna go right into my next one. So I would grab the next little chunk of clay for my large chunk of clay, and it's all muscle memory as far as how much. So there's really no way to measure how much clay you're grabbing. It's more like, okay, you know, I'm doing 30 of these, and you kind of just get used to like, okay, this is the next cycle of handful. So then you go from here and you do the whole thing all over again. Let's check in. Erin, what do you have going on over there? Okay, we want to try it. I'll do some commentary here. So we're gonna come over and just see what Erin's up to. She's got something cool going on. So, yeah. Okay. So what Erin's making, and if you want to talk about Erin, just jump right in. So what Erin's making is what we call a donut. So I don't know if you can see on the video there, but it's almost like a double walled piece.
So like it goes through to the bottom. Once I close this, it'll be hollow on the inside. So right now I'm just taking these two pieces and putting them together to make one side of the donut.
So it'll be a hollow donut shape. What are you gonna do with it after that?
I don't know. It's hollow, so you can make it into anything you want. Vessels that can hold things.
So there's some like drinking vessels. So if anyone's been to like the Renaissance Festival, you see people walking around with these, and they'll actually put them on their arm. And there's like a little place that you can drink out of, and it's traditionally to hold wine, and a little cork on the top. So you can just walk around with this drinking vessel on your arm, almost like a giant bracelet that holds liquid. So she's just closed the two walls together. And now she's just gonna make sure that they're not gonna come apart. Make sure that seam is closed and looks really good. And she's doing that with a rib. And like I said, there's tons of different kinds of ribs that you can use to do this. So how are you going to like you would have to trim the bottom part, right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
the bottom is flat still. And eventually this is all done for now. I'll cut this off and then let the bottom dry, flip it over and carve with it still on the wheel, the other semicircle to complete the donut.
Mhm. So there's always going to be like a second part of it that you're going to do on the wheel. So you kind of get a lot of the wet work done first, and then you let it dry a bit. It goes, the next stage is called leather hard, which is like a hard cheese consistency. And then you would finish your piece by trimming however you needed to trim, just like Erin said. On the other side, she'll round the underneath part out, so it's just like that part. So it's like a nice, like perfect donut shape, and then decide what to do with it. You can also turn these into vases.
Yeah, so this will be turned over and set back on the wheel to take another tool and trim these hard edges out.
Yeah.
And then it can sit like that. And it's hollow on the inside, so.
It's pretty cool. And like, it takes a lot of practice to know like how to close that up and make it so it doesn't collapse on itself.
Like the seam in here, you can see it's not dry, so it comes apart very easy.
It's pretty fun tearing pieces apart too.
Yeah.
So you can see over here too, Erin's thrown a couple other pieces. This vase she made just a couple hours ago. And so we've got like little mama vase and little baby vase here, which like we, love exploring all different size vases. So people think that a teeny tiny little vase is going to be much easier to do than a larger vase. Both of them take a lot of practice.
This took me less time to make than that one.
Yeah. So smaller is not necessarily easier.
Growing small is really difficult.
Yeah. Did you use extra tools for that?
Yeah, I can't use my finger in the end. It's just too small. So I'll use a pin tool the size of like a tack, and I can throw up with this.
Yeah. Yeah. So instead of, obviously, like she couldn't get her fingers in there, so it's using just like a little extra appendage on your finger to kind of get the walls thinned out. Because we don't want to just make this solid. We want it to be like an actual functional, like little baby pot.
Yeah,
And little baby pottery is actually very popular.
it is.
People love it. People love it. So, all right, how much time do we have? 10 more minutes?
Yep.
Oh, easy. Okay. Do you want to throw something, or I can keep going?
What should I throw?
A baby pot. Oh.
Little throw.
Well, while you're getting ready for that, I'll bring it over to you guys. My carved thing here. So, while Erin's getting set up for a little baby pot, oh my gosh. Take notice, like this is probably like 3 ounces of clay. 2 ounces maybe?
Yeah, not even.
Teeny tiny. But just in the meantime, I just want to show you, this is from the video before. This is where my sgraffito technique ended up. I was showing how to do some cross hatching to attach a handle perhaps, or whatever else you want to attach. You can attach flowers, leaves, a smiley face, like whatever you want. Cat ears is usually my example. But I really liked just the little like crosshatch texture, kind of looks like burlap. So I went all over with that. So what's really fun about stuff like this is this clay is going to be wet for quite a while. It's leather hard stage. And so like I can walk away from it for a couple hours, come back to it, and keep adding things to it, and kind of changes with your mood and what's going on that day. It's kind of nice. So, all right, little baby pot.
So I just took 2 or 3 ounces of clay, put it on. I'm going to center it. Centering's hard with big hands and a really small amount of clay, but it's easier than centering 20 pounds. So, and again, that's just getting the clay to go into the middle so that when you do anything to it, it affects all the sides equally.
Notice how she's manipulating her hands like she said, you know, it's teeny tiny amount of clay. Gonna have to,
This stick tool is just helping me clean up the bottom. And I like to clean my thing as I go along. Cause my smaller pots, I normally don't trim. And I don't know if that's out of laziness or
I think it's really hard to do.
it's very difficult. I'm not that invested in them. Yeah. They're okay to handle without that strange weight. So I'm dropping a hole right now. And then I'm pulling out towards my belly button to create a center here. Then I'm just using very little amount of water. I'm gonna start pulling up my sides, but I'm only gonna be doing it with my thumb and my index finger.
It's just like so cute already. You think that this one was about the same amount of clay?
That was a little bit more.
Erin, how long have you been taking ceramics classes at the Anton Art Center?
I've been taking classes here since 2017. I started in the kids class, and now I'm an adult, so.
She's been in the adult class though for much longer than she's been in the kids class. I think you were like 15 when we moved you to the adult class
Something like that,
with the approval of all of the adults.
yeah. They're all my friends.
Yeah.
So I guess I don't know how to shape this. Make
don't
this into
know.
like a little,
Anything, even like a little picture might be cute.
oh yeah, we'll do a little picture.
Oh, here, I'll pull a handle for you.
Yes! So I'm gonna take my needle tool, it's really uneven at the top, and I'm gonna just trim off the top part here, make it even, and then smooth it out with some water, with my finger. And I'm gonna make a picture, so it'll be like for little ants.
Can you combine different kinds of clay together?
Yes,
Actually, I'll show you.
you can combine clay together.
Like terracotta
Basically
and,
just like at its own will, like when it wants to, it will.
Yeah, Erin has a lot more experience with this than I do.
Clay will adhere to other clay if it's
Oh, so those are,
similar.
that's not a glaze, that's just two kinds of clay.
Two
Okay.
different clay bodies.
So that's the terracotta she was using, and I'm using Laguna Vmix 5.
Do they dry at different rates?
Yes.
Or they have different
Yeah.
properties?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
But
And
they're
the way
similar
they,
enough to be able to be bisque and glaze fired together.
Yeah, we've had good results with these two particular clay bodies, but you can, you know, there can be problems. But we found that in the studio, the clays that we use are going okay.
looks like an Indian blanket. Just the pattern on it.
So this is a little picture. And now I'm gonna, normally when I make a spout, I'll take these two fingers and the spout will go inside the middle like this, but this is really, really small, so.
And I'm making a little teeny tiny
A little baby
pulled handle. You do not have to pull a handle. Pulling a handle, then you just take some water and pull the clay down, kind of like it's like taffy. So you see like people like up, you know, up north making saltwater taffy and stuff, and they have that stretcher thing. The clay is really plastic, so it'll actually keep stretching. And when we're doing like a larger handle, it stretches a lot. And the look of the pulled handle is just really, really nice. It's pretty typical of a pottery, traditional pottery.
But yeah, you can see, you make the spout yourself by pushing in and pulling out. But this is very difficult because it's so small.
And a lot of times you can't do all of this stuff all in one step. So
Yeah, we're trying to show it on video, but this is over hours of time I would be doing this.
a lot of times you'll go back in, even just 45 minutes later, and clean it up with a sponge. The amount of moisture that's in a piece is really going to dictate the timing for it. So Erin's scoring the clay so we can attach this absolutely adorable handle. And also since she's not trimming the bottom, we've talked about trimming the bottom of a pot. The other technique that you can do, which I did on a couple other pieces today, is you can actually just take the pot and roll it on its end on some flat surface, and that'll just round the edge so it looks finished. So cute.
Whoa.
Oh my gosh. So you can do tons of surface decoration.
It's so wet because we did it all in one take, but
And you can do surface decoration on it. And just make sure it's exactly how you want it to be. One thing in the ceramic studio that we like to do is just make sure that whatever you're making is exactly how you want it to be. Once it's fired in the kiln, it becomes a permanent piece. So that means that the only way to destroy it would be maybe to break it and throw it away, or maybe grind it back down. But once it's been fired, it's permanent. So you want to keep that in
it'll
mind.
only be rocks again. It can never be clay again.
Yes.
Can you put, say you glaze something, you don't like the color, can you put another layer of glaze on it?
Yes.
It's difficult.
Yeah, you can reglaze things. I mean, there's some artists who fire things 20 times. So you can refire and refire. There's some people who also create, I can't read that.
6 more months.
Okay. Some people who, what was I gonna say? Oh, maybe they add decals to their piece. So the decals would be like something that you can print onto a certain type of paper and apply to a piece of pottery. And you would fire that at maybe a different temperature, so like a lower temperature. But that's again,
all sort of
that's getting
surface.
into it. There's such a wide variety of things in the ceramic world. So I mean, aside from wheel throwing, which we're doing mostly today, obviously, there's hand building, which hand building is kind of the umbrella, and then underneath is we have slab technique and coil. Coils like when you roll out long snake-like pieces of clay. There's pinch pot, which I think that Phil did with everyone this morning or on the news. Pinch pots are one of the oldest techniques, and we still use the pinch pot technique in here all the time. It's
Everyone's first pot.
yeah, it's everyone's first pot, first project. And I oftentimes encourage people to make them over and over again as a warm up for getting into the studio, or just to practice working with clay or kind of get back into it.
What kind of classes do you teach here,
Oh,
Anna?
So we have a lot of classes. We have kids classes, adult classes, and we also have Play for Two classes. So that's adult and child. And I think our
Looks like
ages-
Erin wants to show us something.
Well, need a little cup for the.
I was gonna make a noise, and I'm like, what kind of sound does that even make? Well, usually I do.
Glug, 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 glug.
Well, I think this would be the glug. So, yeah, we have beginning, intermediate, and advanced classes. So if you've never taken a ceramics class before, we definitely suggest that you haven't been in a ceramics class in about, or
I never touched clay before I came here, and I came here, and this is how everything started for me.
yeah, Erin really just jumped right into it.
It's an
And
amazing place. It's like you get to go and hang out with your friends. It's a release. Nothing outside matters.
yeah, we try to make the studio environment just really
It's
whatever
really
you want it
fun.
to be.
Everyone hangs out.
Yeah.
and
All different types of people, all different ages, and everyone's working on completely different things.
Yeah.
So Erin might be throwing little baby pitchers and bowls, and Tom might be throwing giant pots, or someone else might be hand building a sculpture, or
There are
doing tile
people
work.
that just hand build, and there are people that just throw.
I can't sit down like this anymore.
It's a chair right here.
Are all of your classes, like weekly, it's like a semester, or they're like workshop? Tell me your style.
We've had a couple workshops, but mostly we do 6 to 8 week sessions, and you come in once a week for 3 hours, and then we have an open studio on Saturdays. And that's where Erin usually works. She does a lot of the tech work, which is just firing kilns and loading kilns and making glazes and a bunch of other things, because there's so much that goes into the ceramic medium. And then as far as like the classes go, you'll want to take a beginning class for sure. I suggest that people take multiple classes, meaning like not at the same time, but like you want to continuously take classes, because it is one of those mediums where you really need to practice a lot. So a lot of times people will come in thinking, I'm going to take one class and make like some giant vase, and you need a lot of practice for that. So
What about for us working folk that work in the day, do you have night classes?
we sure do, yes. So,
All at nighttime, 6
Yeah.
to 9.
yep, 6 to 9 we have classes, and then we also have daytime classes. So and midday classes, kind of, I guess. So like we have we have some classes that start at 9 a.m., 9 to noon. We have some 10:15 to 1:15. A lot of the kids' classes will be after school, right? So starting around 4:15 to 5:45 or 6, and then the adult classes from 6 to 9. And then we have the Saturday open studio. I should mention that we are hoping to open back up for classes in July sometime. So we will be in touch with everyone. Please keep checking back in. We really miss everyone, especially just being in the studio environment. It's
Lonely.
lonely. Yeah, we like the hustle and bustle of the studio.
We miss you guys.
Yeah. So there's something else I was gonna say, but I don't remember. Yeah, we really miss everyone. It's really just not the same. That's why everyone comes to the ceramic studio, to really engage with other people, see what everyone else is doing, and just feel the creative vibes here.
Are there snacks?
And there's snacks.
There are snacks?
Yes.
snacks.
Yeah, there's always food.
And doggies.
And dogs, yeah. Muriel is our little Antenna Art Center mascot, so she comes in on Tuesday nights.
So the camera crew is gonna start heading upstairs to the main gallery, where we're gonna talk about some of the other projects we have going on for today for Super Sat Art Day at Home.
I wonder what we'll find.
Bye, guys.
Thanks.
Bye, thank you.
All right. Sorry to our
I will
audience
be
for
right
maybe
there.
some seasickness. You may be as we leave the basement of the
We'll be
Antenna
right
Art
there.
Center. There is a larger area for the clay classes.
All right.
All right.
All right. Up we go, folks.
You know, that all of our dedicated gift shop volunteers are really looking forward to getting some folks back into the building. We represent a lot of talented local artists. A lot of great stuff.
Here's the gift shop, as Alyssa said.
Hi, Greg. Hi, Conrad. So we still have one of the student exhibitions up that was up prior to the COVID-19 stuff. So it's still up for now. Hi, Phil.
Hi.
And we're gonna step in
Thank you.
here.
So we're here with Peggy and Patty, checking out some of the activities that the DIA has shared with us, which are all available as a PDF download with step-by-step instructions at www.theartcenter.org.
Yep, and we're doing some different projects.
What are the projects? Can you tell us a little?
whole quarantine thing going on, I think we've learned to get in closer touch with our families and friends, because we can't see them face to face. So we're, making postcards to just jot a little note and go the old fashioned way. And I've got the bookmark project, so I'm gonna be doing some bookmarks. We've got Phil's stable project for Phil here today, and we have some more stuff we can do with that. There's also one for neighborhood collage using magazines and pictures that you can put together. And that's our 4 projects. Plus, there's a real fun type project out there too that you can always check out, making things with paper.
Would you like to give a sneak peek? I see some toilet paper tube wind socks over here. I'm not sure what time that activity airs, so come back later.
Those are so colorful.
They're so cute.
They're like fish, but they can be.
I cannot wait to go and make some of those myself.
Is that it?
Up next, a special presentation with a gentleman named Tom Noddy. I didn't make these cue cards not to use them, folks. A special presentation with a gentleman named Tom Noddy called Bubble Magic, and made possible in part through our partnership with the Discovery Center of Macomb and the Detroit Institute of Arts. Join this activity using the link on our Facebook page in our Super Saturday event and on our website, www.theartcenter.org. Special thank you to the Discovery Center of Macomb and the Detroit Institute of Arts for helping to make this particular presentation happen. We appreciate your help.
Are we done?
Yep. Can we put up the graphic?